Hey everybody. It is December 29th. It's a little late at night, but I wanted to do one more recording for you guys. I had done one the other day that walked through how to do a commission request in Command. I know I've also taught a bunch of DocuSign classes. I wanted to create one smaller video that also discusses submitting your documents for compliance. Again, we're going to continue to teach this, but I want to make sure you guys have something to refer to that's a little shorter, a little more condensed, and so I can spend a little more time walking through explaining how it works, and so you can actually see how it'll work on your end. Okay, so let me jump over to my command. Let's say you have your documents that you need to submit for compliance review. Let's say it's a document that Sally needs to sign, just whatever the case may be. That process will now take place in your command. So that's why we're encouraging everybody to start this process in command, because when you get to this point, it will make the compliance process that much easier and a little more streamlined. So again, when you start a new transaction, whether it's a new buyer, new listing, whatever the case may be, start it in command, create that contact, create an opportunity for them, and then from there, click and go over into DocuSign. You'll spend your time in DocuSign. You'll fill out all your forms. You'll get the signatures. You'll have everything in your room in DocuSign. Then you will come back into Command, which is what we're about to do, and I'll show you how you will actually link up those documents for review. Okay, so log into your command. Again, that's at agent.kw.com. And let's say you've already watched my other videos. You've already gone through the process. You've added the contact, created the opportunity. Here's how you can quickly get back into your opportunity. If you are in command, click that red box and scroll down and click on opportunities. So again, we're skipping past everything. We're just going right into that opportunity that we need to submit our compliance for. Okay. Once you're in there, it's going to take you to a screen that looks like this. At the very top, I want you to keep an eye out. Your chances are you're going to see your name, and then there should be one that says all opportunities. Look for all opportunities and click on all opportunities. That's going to give you a list of all the opportunities that you've created. So I've cleaned mine up a bit. Obviously, you'll see some of the ones that I've been playing with. For the purposes of this example, let's go into our Donald Duck listing here. We're going to click into that, and we're going to submit our documents for compliance review. Okay, so you're going to find that opportunity, and you're going to click on it. That's going to take you back here into your opportunity. Again, should look familiar from when you started. And we're going to click and spend our time today in documents. Okay. Now, once you are in here, I know I've mentioned this before, but this is where you're going to submit your documents for review to the MCA office. On the left-hand side, if you do not see a checklist or you do not see a checklist populated here, you're going to want to click a drop-down up here. Now, because this is an example of a listing, I set this up as a listing opportunity. It's going to provide me with the listing checklists. So at the moment, the only ones that we have filled out are for the residential listings. We will be filling out checklists for commercial, land, and business as well. But again, for the purposes of getting started, we just stuck with residential. So feel free to use residential as your checklist. Again, these will be very similar for a buyer opportunity, a tenant or a landlord opportunity as well. So make sure if you don't, again, see anything listed here or see anything on the side, click that first tab, select checklist. And again, we're going to select residential. Once you select that checklist, it's going to have 3 categories. They will be different for each one. So for listing, it's listed, under contract, and closed. For a buyer opportunity, I believe it's a consultation, under contract, closed. Even with rental, I believe that might just have under contract and closed. Those are created by Keller Williams. We don't have the option to change those on our end, but just know you will see those, and those will kind of tell you where to submit your documents, depending on where you're at in that process. So what we did is we tried to match these exactly as they were on those checklists that were in .loop, and we've broken it out by section. So we have listed, under contract, and closed. You'll see under listed, we have things like the CIS, the listing agreement, the input sheet, seller's disclosure, etc. If we click over to under contract, that'll be things like the executed contract, your mortgage approval letters, first and second deposit, some of those additional forms that maybe you might need at some point in that process. And then, of course, you also have closed as well. So that's going to be things like permits, CO2 smoke detector, fire extinguisher certification, any of those additional ones. For the purposes of today, we're going to spend most of our time right here in the listing section. We're going to go ahead and do that one first. And basically, you'll see here, it's going to have your checklist. I'm going to explain everything from left to right. Starting here on the left, you have status. That will show whether or not something has been uploaded. If you haven't uploaded anything, it's going to say not uploaded. Eventually, when you upload something and submit it to the MCA office, they will review it and it'll actually turn green and it'll show that it's been approved or denied. So that just gives you an idea as to where in the compliance process you are once you have submitted something for review. Requirement. So don't get too tripped up with this, although you see that there is required for all of these. We do also have the option of marking something as conditionally required or optional. Having said that, you do not need to upload everything in order to submit something for review. You can upload things sporadically. What this is meant to do is give you an idea, or a newer agent the idea as to what is going to be required for compliance review. So of course, that's going to be things like the CIS, the listing agreement, the seller's disclosure, etc. So that'll be marked and color coded. I believe if I go to under contract, you'll see some of these are listed as optional. So again, just giving you an idea as to what that is. Next to that, for some of them, you will also see a small information circle. What that does is that tells you a little note about that particular document. So for example, if I go to listing agreement, just a note, must be signed by a broker prior to GSMLS activation. The seller should receive a copy once all is signed. CIS, consumer information statement, first time meeting a client, input sheet signed by the seller, etc. So those are the exact notes that we had on the dot loop checklist. We just kind of reformatted everything and put it here into command. Okay, so that's requirement. Next, you obviously have the document, the name of the document. You will notice for some, but not all, they are underlined and clickable. Just for your information, all that is that gives you a preview of what that document is. So all it is a sample document. It'll even say sample form at this point. All it's meant to do is give you an idea of what that particular form looks like. So same with, lead paint disclosure. Let's see what else here. AHS home warranty, etc. Just gives you a preview of what that document will be. There's nothing you can do here. This does not apply to anything. It just gives you a visual look at what that document will look like. Next to that, we have document type. Again, not super important. It just gives you an idea as to what the type of document is. And that also helps them on the compliance end of things as well to be able to determine what that document is. And last but not least, all the way to the right, you will see something that says file, and you will see some checkboxes here. What that is, and that's what we're going to walk through here shortly. This is where you will pull in those documents to attach to the document. So for CIS, listing agreement, etc. If you have done the process as we've taught, this will be connected to your DocuSign account and it will automatically pull in the form that you want to submit. So we will cover that here in a second as well. One other important note, if you have a document that you need to submit that is not listed here, I will also show you here in a moment how you can manually upload forms that are not included on here as well. Okay. I believe that was everything I wanted to cover here. Last one before I forget, there is also the option to add a custom folder. Again, for you guys, we're not going to really focus too much on that just yet. That is kind of a DocuSign and Command 2.0 section. You can create different folders if, for example, let's say you're working with a buyer and they have gone through a couple different offers. You can create separate folders for some of those offers. But again, not there yet. I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. Okay. All right. So let's say you came here, you want to submit your documents for review. You want to get Sally's signature on your listing agreement. Great. You're going to come in just as we have, and you're going to notice there's going to be a couple, two tabs right here. The very first one It's going to say attach files from. You can manually attach files from your computer, or in this case, we're going to start by attaching them from DocuSign. So I'm going to select DocuSign. Next to that, you will have the option, it says here, working folder. What that'll do is any folder that you've created in DocuSign, you will be able to select the files that are located in that folder. So for example, in DocuSign, I have my main room docs folder, and I also created a folder called signed documents, Donald Duck. In that case, this is again why I'm pushing for everyone to create folders when you are in DocuSign, because that'll make this part much easier. Okay, so let me show you here. Let's say we want to upload our CIS. I happen to know that my CIS is located in my room docs. So I'm going to go ahead and select room docs. And just in case, make sure you click these 3 dots right next to that. It's going to give you some options, which again, we're going to walk through here in a moment. You're going to want to check off include DocuSign forms. That is kind of the trigger to pull those documents from DocuSign. This also allows you to show archive documents if you've archived something. This is how we will manually upload a document, which we'll do here shortly. You can also split and attach a PDF. So for those of you, let's say, who have all your documents, maybe you've downloaded a giant PDF from Dotloop, you need to submit it for compliance. You can actually submit, upload that document, split and attach those files right in here. That is how you would do that. And you can also export documents as well. Okay. So let me check off include DocuSign forms. I'm then just going to go ahead and click kind of out of it so I can get rid of that box. And now when I go to select a file, it's going to pull my DocuSign forms from my room docs. I'm going to click here and it's going to go ahead and start pulling in some of those forms. So if you have a lot of forms, you're going to see that this is kind of a big list, very spelled out. Don't spin your wheels trying to look for it. You can actually start typing the name of the document and it should pull it up. So that's kind of what I recommend. Look for the name of the document to be able to match it up. So I happen to know this is my CIS. I typed in CIS and I'm just going to click it and you'll see it's going to spin and it will say the document was successfully uploaded. So then you're just going to go down this list. Again, I'm going to see here, listing agreement. Great. Submit. Let's see. I don't know if I have the seller's disclosure. Let's see. Seller's disclosure right there. Oh, sorry, that was a seller's disclosure waiver. No problem if you upload a different one. You can always remove it, which is what I'm going to do here. Or let's say you upload the wrong one and submit it for review. Again, no big deal either. You can upload and update the form after that as well. So let me just do one more here, seller's disclosure. Let's see. Telephone disclosure, seller's property condition disclosure. There we go. So you may have to match up those names, especially if maybe you renamed some of them in DocuSign or if you have them as a different name. Just kind of know what is what. And you're basically just going to go down the list and match these up. Okay. One other example, again, let's say you have a document that's not on here that you need to manually upload. No big deal. We're going to do that now. If you need to, click the 3 dots, again, in that upper right-hand corner, and we're going to add a document. Basically, what it's going to do is it's going to, again, just have you fill in some general information. So document name, let's say, for example, it's a copy of survey. Type the name, we'll do document type. Again, maybe I don't know what it is. Okay, no worries. I'm going to just pick other. Completely fine, whatever you pick here. You can include a note. So again, that would be like a note that you would submit if you were submitting something for compliance review. Maybe it's something like forgot to include, here's survey. Again, not required. You don't need to put anything, but you can. Next, source of documents. So again, you will have the option of either uploading it from DocuSign, if it's a form that's in DocuSign that is not listed on this particular checklist, or you can manually upload it from your computer. So in that case, let me do DocuSign. From there, check off show forms. Again, that's going to connect to your forms. You can once again select the folder that it's located in. So you'll see here, I have a couple ones in this signed documents form area. You can also search for the file name as well. But let's just say, even though I'm doing a copy survey, let's say I have the survey in my DocuSign broom. Let's pretend it's this coming soon one. Great. I'm going to check that off and hit save. That will drop in any of those documents right at the bottom of your list, and it'll actually show that it's an additional document that you have uploaded. So again, I'm going to do one more real quick. Let me add one more document. Let me say this is a copy of enough copies. Let's say test document. Document type, contract. I'm not going to put a note. Let's say this time I'm uploading it from my computer. Great. So in that case, it'll say drag or drop or browse your file. So I'm going to go ahead and browse. And let's see here. Let's do this letter of intent. So actually, that's a good one. Hit save. And again, that created that checklist item. And here is the document at the bottom. You'll see that it went ahead and uploaded my document. That is really the gist, the bulk of what you're going to do. So again, that's why we really encourage everyone to start this process in Command, because when you get to here, it's going to make it that much easier to submit these documents. So once you've uploaded everything, you are going to hit Submit to MC. Are you sure you want to submit this for review? Yes, submit. And it's been submitted. So once it's submitted, the MCA office compliance, Sally, will be going in at this point and checking throughout the day. We will not be able to do anything with your documents unless you submit them this way. Unfortunately, we cannot go into your DocuSign rooms. It is different from .loop. You will you have to ultimately submit them this way. You will be responsible for submitting them so we can review and sign them. Now, I know this is an extra step, fully aware of that. You are making this process easier for compliance purposes. You are making this easier ultimately for the MCA when it does come time to cut your check, because you are submitting these documents in this order. When we go to review them on our end, it will show in the same order every time. We will flip through those documents one by one very quickly. And basically, we will either be able to approve the document or deny that document. So in this case, what I am going to do is pull up one more screen here. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm gonna save that for behind the curtain. Basically, I was going to go in. I was going to show what it looks like when these documents are accepted or denied. But I can easily kind of cover this here just by talking it through. If a document is approved, under status, it will turn green and it will say approved. That means there's nothing else you need to do with it. If something gets returned, let's say the listing agreement does get returned, it will actually show returned. It'll be red. It'll have a box showing that it's been returned. And it'll have a note, chances are, right next to it stating why it was returned. So chances are it might say something like needs signature from seller or whatever the case may be. If you need to replace a document, you will find the document. Let's say it's the listing agreement. You'll see you can go ahead and update. And so once again, if you update it, you can either upload it. If it's in your DocuSign account, you can just pull it right over from your DocuSign account, or you can upload it from your computer. So however you need to do that, you would just hit update and update it with the newest file. Let's say, as an example here, let me switch this one. I'll do the CIS here. Let's just say I do that one and hit update. Once that is the case and you update a form, it will change the status to updated. You will not need to resubmit to the MCA office. They will be able to go in and see that that form has been resubmitted on their end. And again, we will kind of be building out that process internally to check in at certain times of the day to see and make sure that things are being submitted and respond to you, in an appropriate fashion. With that, any communications regarding compliance will also take place in command. So you will also be responsible for logging in. If you have a transaction that is going on and you are, again, actively submitting things for compliance, you will need to check in and double check to make sure that this information is filled out. With that, if you need to send us a note, or in this case, if compliance sends you a note, there will be a button. You'll see here if you need to add a note, it says add comment. This is where you have the opportunity of submitting a message to us. So you could say something like, hey, sorry, I'm in my account, but let's just say, hey, Sally, need your signature. Add reply. So what this does is that informs us on our end that there's also a note for us to take a look at. But in that case, it'll also show us, it'll keep a continuous, ongoing comment of that back and forth. So I know currently in .loop, same thing. You may get an email or a message in .loop saying, hey, I need you to also submit this. Same thing with that. We will be able to message you directly and say, hey, we need you to upload the CIS, upload the listing agreement, etc. So that's how we will be able to communicate with you as well. Okay, so that's some of that back and forth. Last but not least, the only other thing that I didn't cover, again, in this particular example, this is just compliance. We also have another video that walks through the new way to do green sheets, so I encourage you to check that out as well. If it is a document that, in this case, Sally needs to sign, or it is a broker signature, or something like that, Sally, again, will log in through the day. As long as you have submitted that document to MC, Sally will be able to go in. And what Sally will ultimately do is she will look, and in this case, let's say it's the listing agreement. Sally will have a certain access to be able to sign that document from within here. So she will check off that document, click sign, and it will allow her to put that sign on that form. From there, we can then approve, and you will know that it has been signed and approved. So that is the way that we will be doing any signatures in that case. So again, very important to note. I do know that this is, again, more steps, very aware. I encourage you, please watch the main DocuSign recording. Come and check out this compliance recording, and then finish up with the offers and commissions recordings. Again, I'm going to continue to be teaching these. This doesn't just end when the clock strikes 12, but if you guys do have any questions, again, I am off tomorrow, which is 12:30, and we are off for the New Year's. But if you send me an email and it is an urgent request, I will do my best to respond. If not, again, I will be responding to those emails as soon as we're back after the New Year. Okay. But otherwise, please, again, encourage you to practice. Even if you don't have a listing or a transaction right now, now is the time to go and send a practice contract for your own home or a friend's home. Let us know. Now is the time to get used to this. So when that day does come, even if you don't have an active listing, you're comfortable with the system. So there's no delay. Okay. All right. That's what I wanted to cover for today. Thank you guys very much, and have a wonderful New Year. I'll see you in 2022. Bye.